Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the individual speakers, commentators, guests, experts, and our hosts. They do not explicitly or necessarily reflect nor represent the network broadcaster channel and/or program's policy or the views held by this network broadcaster channel or program. The network broadcaster channel or program cannot be held accountable for all or any views expressed during this program.
Hey, Fem Talk Nation. We are back. It is Fem Talk Tuesday, and we are still in Women's History Month, and we are talking about leading ladies in music today. So let's bring in the ladies of Fem Talk. We have Shima She Talks.
Hey, Fem Talkers.
Hey, and Dr. Melissa Simmons.
Hello, Fem Talk Nation.
I was in the back dancing and emphasizing and dancing.
Yeah, that's the show opener, right?
Yeah.
All right, Shima She, take us away.
Well, Tracy talked about the Women's History Month, but we also talked about music's greatest. We're going to talk about both, the mix of both. That's why I was dancing. So I was thinking about all my favorite artists. But before we get into all of that, we always got to talk a little Fem Talk question. So you guys know you can always send us your questions, tell us a story. You could be anonymous, you can share your identity, but we will talk about it on an upcoming show. And we will give you all our opinions and our answers and our comments. We have a good one for you guys today, though. This question says, I'm dating a new guy, and he came over the other night. It wasn't the best experience, but I really like him. How do I start the conversation about what I prefer in bed? I'm not picking anybody. I'm just going to let y'all run with it. Who wants to go first?
You go ahead, Tracy.
Well, communication is key to whoever put this question out there. And I think, especially if you are just starting out, right? You need to have those conversations right up front. Now, you've had, sounds like maybe one experience, and you can start the conversation, maybe be a little playful with the beginning of the conversation and come to that person and say, I had an amazing night, but I wanted to share something with you. And maybe you start to get into some of the things that you really like. And you don't necessarily have to say what that person did so wrong unless it was really bad and you don't want it done again. But, just start to tell the person, what you like in the boudoir and how you like it. There is no shame in having a sex conversation and telling that person exactly what you want, and tell them exactly what gets you aroused. Yep, I'm saying it right here on Fem Talk. Tell that person what arouses you, what gets you going, what gets you in the mood, and then what takes you to that heightened place so that you can have an orgasm. Yep, I said it right here on Fem Talk.
Ooh, she said the word. She said the word. The O word. The O word.
The O word. So who wants to take it away now?
I will go.
Okay.
If you're in a relationship longer, I totally agree. Talk about it. Let your lover man or lover girl, lover person know what you like. I think, and when you're in a relationship for a long time, things can become kind of ordinary in the sense where you do the same thing often. So I think one of the more exciting ways I've learned to kind of twist things up is to kind of do a question kind of game. We do it at dinner. we'll do, or, we're out, having a good time. And I'll say, so, and I'll ask questions. I'll ask one question. He'll ask the same question. And then we both share. So we could talk about things maybe we used to like, but now maybe don't like it as much. Or another thing you could go is, be creative. You could go get a book or two that can give you ideas. You could also get cards that will, you pick a card and then show this is a new position we could try.
Right. That's right.
But all these type of things to really make the experience fun before and after. And it's such a nice lead up. So those conversations before, having fun, looking at cards. There's a wonderful book on Kama Sutra if you're really interested in making things light, nice, and spicy. Yeah. But I think those are the kind of things, because I think we assume we watch TV too much and we think that, as soon as it starts, it's beautiful. No, not sex can be as quirky, as awkward, and as uncomfortable as you make it. But the more you talk about it, the more you kind of become creative, the more it becomes just exhilarating.
Nice way to put it. And I love that you said that you talked about it from the perspective of somebody having longevity, right? I think this person is very new, but you want to keep things fresh, right? And you want to keep it exciting and exhilarating, as you said. So I love that.
Well, that's the perspective I was hearing, and when you were talking, you're telling them you're eased. I think there's more comfortability when it's longevity, when there's longevity, when you've been with a person. Just going by what I'm hearing in the question, it is super new. So I gotta say, I don't know if I would be gung-ho to go straight in with the blah 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 blah. Like you said, you don't want to say that was wrong, that hurt, that didn't feel good. You don't want to be that direct. But I think the playful question asking, I like when you ask, or I'm a person who will say, well, what have you done before? What things turned you on in other, in other encounters? Not like, and I'm with you, Dr. Mimi, not that I'm gonna do all of what you've seen or what you've done, but I just need a gauge on what you like. I want to ask the questions. For me, sex is playful. So I'm going to be silly. I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to enjoy it. But I do want to eventually work around to the part where that wasn't, what I wanted, or that didn't feel as good. I feel like if you open the door enough with comfortability, they'll be able to ask you hope. And if they don't, then you just going to have to tell them. They'll be able to ask you, how was it for you? Some people, and I do have to say this, will just say, how was that last night?
Because you have to be bold enough to say how it was, right? And be able to articulate that in a way that it doesn't hurt the person's feelings.
I don't mind being asked. Because I'm a judge.
Right. I would. Oh, yes. That episode with Monica and Chandler, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That is a way to break the ice.
Absolutely.
It's like Shima said, playful and fun. I'll just say this. There's no need to say things just wasn't good.
Right.
I think there's always, I choose to say, you know what? That was nice, but let's try this.
Right.
I think
that was your way. This is my way. Let's see what we do.
Correct. I don't think you want to. You don't want to critique. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's not about that. It's about getting to know each other. Exactly. So I kind of leave the negative, because you don't want to make it an intimidating atmosphere either. You know what I'm saying? For either one, right? So kind of use
especially if all the other bells and whistles are pretty good. You want to say, maybe that first time is always awkward, because you don't know their rhythm, they don't know yours, and so I think the conversation is probably the key. I think even though we all said something different, it all is based around having the conversation. So you have to be able to say what you like, what you don't like, and what you expect. That's in any relationship. So
one thing I wanted to mention too, because you mentioned, Shima, kind of asking the person what they've liked, in the past. But
Mhm.
also, I think it's good to ask a person what they want to explore, maybe something that they haven't
Right.
tried that they desire, right?
Absolutely.
To be able to, take it to another level
Mhm.
with this person,
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a great question.
right?
A little spiciness early in the
Right. I'm
evening.
surprised our producer gave us that question.
Right.
Hey, this is Fem Talk. You know, we talk about everything. That's right, Dr. AM. Rhythm.
Can you
We
dance?
need rhythm.
Can you
Exactly.
dance?
Like, you know that most people equate sex to how you dance.
Hmm.
So if you got a little good two-step going, you might have a little rhythm going. So, ladies, let's move on to our hot topic. And for us, we're celebrating those great women because it's Women's History Month, and
Yes.
we were talking about all the women, but let's talk about the new girls in music. And who is at the top of that list?
The new ones, the new bees, the new bees, the new biz,
The new who?
the new biz, the
The new
newbies, the
biz?
newbies.
Cynthia Erivo.
Hmm.
Ah, and
Oh
she's
my,
not really a newbie.
not new.
She's just getting her, what they call it, her
Recognition.
Just
recognition.
Hmm.
rewards.
Cynthia
Yeah.
Erivo has been around for quite a long time,
Yeah.
Hmm.
but her, her star is shining now.
Mhm. Well,
Um,
it takes us a
and
minute.
yeah, and now so what's happening now? Everybody's like Instagramming, IGing her, YouTubing her, and they're saying like, "Oh my gosh, this woman can blow."
Mm.
And
Her voice is
her
amazing.
voice range when she starts singing, it's such a simple range. She's not a J HUD,
She's a
but when
songbird.
she
Mm,
starts going in, it's like,
yeah.
okay, she's taking it to a height we have not heard and
Yeah.
Yes.
haven't seen.
But
I'm in love.
even when she's even when she's at that steady pace, right?
Mhm.
Her voice is so melodic,
Mhm.
and she just takes you. She gives me chills when she sings,
Yes.
She
even
has
when her
a
voice is screaming.
soul.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's a
she's such a
lot.
songbird. I love her. I
It's
absolutely love her.
I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about, I believe, the Oscars. Was it the Oscars?
yes, the
Mhm.
Oscars.
And she prepares herself for the
Yeah,
crescendo type thing,
yeah,
Mhm.
and she almost knows. Like, I don't know. I equate it to like little bubbles. Like, it feels like she knows it's building, and she's
Mhm.
preparing to give it to us. And you
yes.
can see it in her when she's getting ready to do it. It is. They say, "Who are we talking about?"
Cynthia
Cynthia
Erivo.
Erivo. This real time conversation, Fem Talk is real time conversation.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah, she just
But
prepares herself and then she just lets loose. It's
Mhm.
like, I know I have it in me, and it's not a struggle. It's not, she doesn't have to go to a strained place to get it. It's just
Yeah.
waiting, like I
yeah,
love
I mean, and can sing anything. I saw a
it.
clip of her singing on I think it was Jimmy Fallon show, and she just sang "Happy Birthday."
Oh, no.
Poor
Oh,
Guillermo
no.
wanted to cry because I never heard a "Happy Birthday" that well sung in
No.
my life. I mean, that's how good she is.
I
It
love
just
it.
stops you in your tracks, and she's so humble about it. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I think that's another thing that you just, you see her you see her soul when she sings.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And she
So
just really, I love to see anyone just enjoy what they're doing, like just
yeah.
really get joy out of it.
Mhm.
Um, we're also talking about Ray, which is new for me
Mhm.
until the Grammys.
The Grammys, me
But
too.
Yeah.
I love her. She's a singer, she's a songwriter, she's up for Songwriter of the Year. She
Yep.
was up for Songwriter of the Year at the Grammys. That voice is nice too.
Mhm.
And
Again,
she
another
was having a good time.
pure voice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching her sing because she closes her eyes when she sings.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another, again, showing that I don't know, her need to not focus on what's in front of her, but what's
Mhm.
in her. to bring out that voice, that song. And again, love. I want to hear more of her. I want to hear more from her. So, I mean, can you imagine in 10 years from now what she's going to be singing? I just can't even.
Yeah.
I loved how she was getting ready to also crescendo, and she took the mic or the audio out of her ear because she knew she was going high, and she just wanted to make sure she hit that note correctly. I was like, oh, I'm loving this. I am loving it.
Yes.
She was so good. She surprised me because I really didn't know who she was.
Yeah,
So
I didn't either. But pleasant surprise. So can't wait to see more from her.
Yes.
Yeah. For
Much
sure.
like number 4, Doechii.
Doechii.
Doechii kills it.
How do you say that?
Also surprising to me. She brought a different flair and charisma to rap music for women. You know, I just loved her from the costume, right, to the movements, and then just how she rapped. I was like, okay, this is a new artist for rap music, right? That brings a different flair from what you hear in this trap era, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, she was a pleasant surprise for me too, because I didn't really know who she was either until the Grammys.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of Doechii, but really, that her performance blew. Reminded me of that first time you saw Janet Jackson dancing. It was like, wow, like okay, new level. Everybody get new bar set.
Yeah,
loved her. But Doechii is killing it. She is. She's at the at Fashion Week in Europe, and she's killing the fashion. So I mean, I love the combination of her fashion, her singing, her rapping, and just her delivery of it, and just seeing, I love her lyrics. Her lyrics are like, it makes you want to learn. It makes you want to hear more of what she got to say.
And she has such a humble spirit when she was giving her acceptance speech at the Grammys, talking about how she was, just a young girl from Florida, a young dark-skinned girl from Florida who wasn't even sure that she would ever get a chance to be on that stage, and how anybody, if you see me, you could do it type thing.
Yeah.
I just love that spirit. And she was unafraid, unapologetic. She was so confident on that stage. I was like, oh, I like her. Love her.
Yeah.
And then, I love this last one we're going to talk about. That I just think you feel like you're her auntie because you watched her grow up. Miss Keke Palmer.
Yeah.
Quadruple threat.
Yeah. And again, she's not new, right? Like Cynthia, she's not new. Keke's been around for a long time. It's
Very
just
long
now
time.
she's starting to get her flowers, right? You're seeing her everywhere. She's being recognized more. So it's good to see because she paid her dues.
Absolutely.
Yeah. To where she is today.
Yes. I don't know if you ever heard her. One of my favorite songs from Keke, her singing, is Man in the Mirror. If you hear her rendition of Man in the Mirror, you may have to replace Michael Boy because Keke kills it. Man in the Mirror. I'm telling you. I mean, and that's what she can do. She can take a song that someone else sings, do her little spin to it, and now it's hers. But again, love Keke. Can't wait to see what's her next, what next adventure she takes us all on. So, but in singing, she kills it. She kills it. Oh yes, Joyful Noise.
Yes, yes, yeah.
How many times my kids have watched Joyful Noise?
Yeah,
several times.
Now, I'm gonna have to go
the other day.
You was watching it?
I didn't watch it when it was coming. I was walking by. I was walking by, and I was like, "Why is Queen Latifah?" Oh, okay. I didn't know what it was at first. Where were you getting ready to say, Trace?
I was going to say I'm going to go look for, because I'm a Michael Jackson fan. So I'm going to go look for Keke's rendition of Man in the Mirror. I definitely want to hear that. Yeah.
You're going to be a new fan.
I was discreetly trying to pull it up. I'll wait till after the show. And
So good. So good.
So that's a little short list that we have of new girls in music. Do you guys have any favorites of the new girls that are not on this list?
Let us know. I'm excited. I want to hear somebody else's, who we're forgetting in this. You know
I
what I'm
know.
saying?
Yeah.
I
In
don't
terms
know
of
if
up
I
and
have
coming.
anything outside of those four. I don't
Well,
know
we
who
do,
else
but
I
that's going to come later. We'll look at our new
Well,
girls.
Oh
we
no.
have our all-time list. I can't wait to get to the all-time list. But
Oh,
yeah.
I
And the
didn't mean
current.
all time. I meant new. See, they
No,
just
yeah, but that's coming
they
up as
list.
well for
Oh,
our
I'm
picks,
sorry.
ladies.
Oh, you have new on yours as well?
Mm-hmm.
And just in case you guys didn't know, last week we talked about all our favorite songs, R&B songs, and it wasn't all women, was it? Oh yeah, maybe it was. No, it
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
all women.
We did actresses.
It was actresses.
Yes.
But this week we talked about our favorite artists. We made lists. So we're gonna, well, not secretly, but we are gonna show you what our lists entail and how they differ and how they might be similar in some ways. And our producer already told us that we just did whatever we wanted to do. We didn't do we didn't break it up into the current and the later, but you will see how it's broken up later on in the show. Because that's our best singers list. So we're going to talk about that later. So let's get to our main topic and our main discussion for Women's History Month. And one of those topics is going to be what? Producers that have changed the game.
The game.
The women producers.
Can I just say this?
I know you. Go ahead.
How? How?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We all know we and love Miss Missy Elliott. And she has shown us how she could be in front and behind that camera and that mic at any time.
At any time.
Oh my goodness. What I gotta say, I gotta ask, even if it's just her singing, but I don't know which one she actually produced. What is a favorite song of Missy's that you guys can think of?
Oh, let me open my Missy Elliott.
Oh, not that you have a Missy Elliott playlist.
What?
I can't.
One of my,
I
can
can't
you
think of
work
words
it?
right now, but can you
Work
work
it?
it? Put my name down and my lyric. It's your yeah. I can't think of the words, but I can hear the melody.
Yes.
That's that one. I mean that one is such a classic. That is like because one day we need to do the best rap songs of all time. I think we have, but we could do it again.
We can do it again.
Right?
It's
but
always
hers is one of them. Hers is one of the best R&B hip hop songs of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Work It, how she flipped it, how she sees it with Ciara. Exactly. It's just you just love the vibe. I love what she does.
The music is fun, right? It makes you want to move. It's fun. It makes you laugh. It makes you feel good. And she comes with a different flair, right? She was the person that brought a little bit of the future into, the present as she does her music. She always brings something a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember, I got to actually have a story because Missy Elliott is from Portsmouth, Virginia. And I went to school at Norfolk State, and actually she had a group, and I can't think of the name of the group. Producer, if you know the group, please let me know. But she had a group, and they actually went to Norfolk State. They went to my school. She then moved to New Jersey after that. So we were in New Jersey at the same time, and I actually had the honor of going to her home in New Jersey. But when I tell you, her home was like nothing I had ever seen before. Everything would look like it was maybe out of the Jetsons, like
really
her furniture, like all of the technology, like it was amazing. But it fit, and I'm saying all this to say it just fit her personality.
Her personality, her creativeness, her unique creative take on how she sings. Like I love Lose Control. Again, she is just that person. When you hear an undeniable voice, when you hear Missy Elliott, you know it. You know what I'm saying? And not to say everybody you can't, especially now, a lot of times you can't tell who's singing what.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
When you hear Missy Elliott,
you know that voice. Exactly. And then, like Tracy said, her signature sounds and ad libs to the music. That's her in the background, or that's her getting ready to perform or come out or be a feature on someone's song. For me, I love all her music mostly, but I'm a Jersey girl, and here we like a little club music up here. So she created a club song for the people. But when you hear that and you in the club, that's a Jersey song. That's Missy, and it's time to get on the dance floor.
On the dance floor.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I love it. I do love
Pump
her.
it up.
Yeah.
Love.
Who
Sisters.
else?
What is it? Her musical career, Sisters. Is that Missy?
Sister,
There you
yeah.
go.
So we were all in school together.
Look at you.
Yeah.
In the 90s, who were part of the larger musical collective Swing Mob, led by Devontae Swing of Jodeci.
Jodeci. Love it. And she's again, hip hop Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Hip hop Hall of Famer.
I did
Yeah,
not know.
for sure.
Nice. What about Miss Tiana Taylor? I can't say I know a whole lot about her producing.
Tiana, I've been noticing how much you see of her and how much she's been behind the scenes. Huge choreographer. But now producing. She did a couple of movies recently. Oh gosh, I know it has to be it's about not the Ten Commandments. It was a historical movie. I forget, from the Bible, but she just finished doing that. And another one, again, producing, and actually did pretty good in the movies last year. Why can I think of the song? But again, she has just dabbled in and really come to the forefront of somebody to be contended with. She just got an award. Blown away that she even received the award. One of those Women of the Year awards that she recently received, because I think people are really recognizing her talents now. Again, the door is opening up for her. And again, another one that's just throwing down the barrier, laying down the gauntlet, saying, you know what, I'm here and I'm here to stay, and you're going to have to contend with me.
Yeah. She's a full personality, right? She's known for her, kind of off the beat fashion, right? When you see her in different places. But her and her husband, he's a basketball player or former basketball player, also has their own reality show as well. Yeah, but she's definitely, I think she's been around for quite some time, but now again, like other women that we mentioned, just starting to get the recognition that she deserves.
Another triple threat too. She can sing, she can dance, choreograph, and produce. Yeah. Another triple threat. Quadruple threat, really.
Yeah.
So watch out.
Wow. Now this is some information. She has an album that was released June 19th, with 23 tracks. That's a lot of tracks for one album, featuring guest appearances from Erykah Badu, Kehlani, Lauryn Hill, Future, Rick Ross. Wow. And what a feature list. Quavo, Missy Elliott. And it debuted number 8 on the Billboard 200, earning her.
Go ahead, Tiana. I ain't mad at her.
That's nice.
She's again another quadruple threat. If you remember, she did a appearance in the Olympic opening scene, opening, I want to say parade or scene, but the opening day, she was featured in the Olympics. Just really, you don't know where you're going to see her at, but you're going to see her. I love that about her. You're going to see her.
And I like that they're getting, like you said, they're getting their feet wet. They came out doing something. They came out performing, dancing, fashion. And then now she just wants to nurture and produce and create new things. I love that everybody has that mindset to just branch out and
do your own stuff, make your own space. The day that we're looking, talk about Women's History Month, last month, Black History Month, which is all year long. I think we're all learning that we're not asking to come to your table. We're going to create our own tables. We're going to create our own opportunities. We're going to create our own, scenes, if it's movies, if it's songs, if it's whatever, genres. We're going to come and bring it for ourselves. And everything we bring to the table, people love, steal, and then try to make it their own. So it's like, go ahead, go for it. You know what I'm saying? You can't take it from us.
Yeah.
That magic that, we're bringing. And I think that's what people are seeing. it's not about trying to make it. It's about making it and making a space for it.
Making it happen. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I wanted to mention also before we get off of the producers, and we talked about this before, but we got to mention Candy Burris, right? Because she's also been in the game for a long time and has put some hits out there for several artists. So, we got to make mention of her because she's out there doing her thing too. And she's crossed over on Broadway. And so just doing a lot. And like you said, this goes with what you were just saying, Dr. Melissa, right? It's her, but making her own table in areas where people didn't expect her to go, right? But she's making the tables for herself and for other people that are coming behind her and giving other people opportunities to share their talents.
And not being afraid to delve into other genres or other areas where, and I have to say this, where Black women may not go or may not be invited. So she was.
That's what it's about, right? We're not looking for an invitation. We're looking. Well, no, I'm not asking you. I'm not apologizing for who I am or what I'm going to do. Exactly. And she is quintessential that. Yeah. Between what she does in music, what she does as an entrepreneur, and what she does on TV, what she does, behind the scenes producing. Absolutely. She, again, she's doing it her way, and don't like it, don't do it.
Just move out the way.
I'm coming, so
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad you mentioned her.
Yeah,
because she's in that. She's definitely in that category.
We should take a quick commercial break and then come back and talk about the honorable mentions.
Absolutely. I have a funny story on that one too.
And we are back. Let's bring the ladies in and let's get into this conversation. We've got honorable mentions for this music industry.
Yes, we do. And this first honorable mention is one of my favorites. I know we're talking.
And we just lost her. But let's mention her favorite honorable mention until she comes back. And that was Barbra Streisand.
Barbra Streisand. Let me say this. Yeah. I was trying to tell my kids who Barbra Streisand was a few years ago. They was like, huh? What? Because I was saying who are the best singers of all time, period. Mm-hmm. The top three, obviously in my head, but I think a lot of people would agree. Barbra Streisand is one of the top 5 singers of all time. Mm-hmm. And talk about triple threat. Barbra Streisand broke barriers before most women were even trying to. Mm-hmm. And she, her singing is known to the point where I forget when she did her last concert, but it was one of those things like, if you have never heard her sing, and, not, you have to hear her before she stops singing type of thing. The beauty of her range, the simplicity of her voice, but when she gives a note, how you just never forget how she sang it.
Right.
One of those one of the best voices you'll ever hear of all time.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love it. Before I had my technical difficulties, I was saying she does so many things because I also love all of her movies. Mm-hmm. But that voice.
But she produced even acting.
That's
Her
my
acting is good, but her producing is even better.
Mm,
Talk about triple and quadruple threat. That's her.
yeah.
And also unapologetic from even back then. And I hate to, we put the disclaimer up and we do talk about, our own opinions, and we're talking about how there's so much um disparity in Black women getting mistreated. Is the Jewish woman who would also not have been given the opportunity if it weren't for her chutzpah, for
Yeah.
her feeling like I'm gonna do it regardless.
Yeah. And you know what makes me think about her too is she didn't look like the typical actress,
No.
of her day, right? But she came with so much confidence and so much spunk, and she
Yes.
commanded, the
Spicy.
stages that she was on, right? Yeah, Bette Midler's another one too, as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
In top five, Bette Miller with her, yeah. But like you
absolutely.
said with Barbara Streisand, I mean, from The Star Is Born, Funny Girl, The
Mhm.
Way We Were, to
Mhm.
your point,
I
in The
love
Way
it.
We Were, she wasn't the pretty girl, right? She
Mhm.
wasn't the one that the mommy's gonna bring, the guy's gonna bring home to mom.
Mhm.
Her signature nose, that classic, all of the things that that sounded like it was against her was what made her Barbara Streisand.
Right,
Unique, right?
right.
Very unique, yeah.
Then there's
She did.
also oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was just gonna say she just led with so much confidence. Like you would have never thought by the way she acted, by the way she presented herself on every stage, whether she was being interviewed, whether she was in a movie, whether she was
Mhm.
singing on stage, just the way she came out and the way that she carried herself. You would have never thought that, oh, she's not the typical actress,
Exactly.
right?
You would have
Because
thought that this is the norm.
yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely. And I love that she brought it that way, even though she went against everything that, Hollywood was putting out at that time.
Mm-hmm. And
Another
a strong
another
feminine activist. I mean, there's just so many things that I love about Barbara Streisand,
Mhm.
just her activism. I mean, again,
just great.
just great.
Just great.
Absolutely.
Another powerhouse, Miss Celine Dion,
Mhm. Yeah.
who,
Celine Dion,
who's also that voice sounds like
the voice, right? She is the voice. I mean, it's one of those things with Celine is like when you hear the voice, it's Celine Dion.
It's her.
It's
Yeah.
her. It's her.
Absolutely.
It's
Very
her.
distinct sound.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad what she's going through now physically.
Mhm.
Her it's a stiffness where her body is stiffened up, autoimmune disease, and it's affected her ability to sing.
Mhm.
But I was so excited when she did the closing song for the opening of the Olympics, and
Mhm.
even though it was recorded because they didn't know she would be able to get through the song. But I mean, she once again delivered it. She has that iconic voice, the iconic songs. Who will ever forget the song? She has one of those the songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
that you just never forget. So
Absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. And then we
We
had
got
another. Go ahead, she.
oh, we had two more mentions, the Clark sisters, of course, and then we were talking about Miss Stevie Nicks, and I had to say Miss Stevie Nicks because why? A lot of people will think that you're talking about a man until she's on stage and she is just rocking out with such a voice,
Yeah.
such
and that's like and all these women, Stevie Nicks, Celine Dion, Barbara Streisand, they're like our generation kind of thing. Like, we were young when they were out there. And so I knew who Stevie Nicks is, but it was cute to
right,
hear, the younger generation. I thought it was a guy,
right. Like,
not Stevie Nicks.
Stevie Nicks? Where's the man? Right.
Yeah. And I just wanted to make mention of Amy Winehouse, right? Because she had an amazing voice and she transitioned very early. And she was, basically at the height of her career. Like you could see that it was about to turn around, right? Like
Mhm.
she was about to start really getting some recognition. And then she transitioned from this life, but her voice was powerful. So I wanted to mention her as well.
Yeah, and she has one of those, on the Apple's greatest albums of all time. I think she is top. I want to say she's definitely top 10.
Mhm.
I want to believe she's like number 6 or 7. I
Mhm.
mean, of all time, her album. So, again, like you said, Tracy, her singing ability, again, not as well known as she could have been.
Mhm.
Right.
But
But for the short time,
it showed the
she
talent.
has really,
It's sad
she
when
really made a very big impact.
Yeah.
when the when you battle, you're battling against
Number 8
addictions,
on the list.
how it unfortunately takes over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you don't forget the voices. You don't forget
Absolutely
the
not.
legacy they leave is forever.
Absolutely.
Our producer said number 8.
Number 8. I was close. Top
That's amazing.
of all
That is
time.
amazing.
Of all
Yeah.
time.
For
Yeah.
all time. Well, we're at the part of the show where we're going to talk about our personal favorites. I think we had a list put together. Our producer put together. You'll see that on the top of the screen. So I'll just say, since Miss Tracy did hers the correct way, we're going to start with her.
All right, so let's go through my
all-time favorites.
Yes, let's go through my list. So number 1 is Miss Whitney Houston, one of the most undeniable, I would say, best voices in music. She has
Of all time. Of all time.
of all time. And when you do when you start looking things up, right? She definitely comes up as number 1, even in a person who has sold, records globally, not just here in the United States. Whitney Houston is one that comes up on those top charts. So wanted to mention her, but she also has one of those voices where it's undeniable, right? When you hear her voice, when you hear her songs, it's Whitney Houston. It's her
the voice. And another one that, and is she's so good that, like, especially like American Idols and things like that, they said don't sing her song.
Right.
Unless you can literally
Bring
sing
it.
it like her, don't do it.
Exactly. Unless you can bring it. And the second on my list is Patti LaBelle. So I love Miss Patti LaBelle. Miss Patti LaBelle was like my auntie. But I used to always go see Patti LaBelle in concert. Just very soulful, powerful voice. And I love when she started to get into it and kicked off her shoes. She would kick off her shoes at her concerts because she just knew she was ready to blow. So she's another one. Miss Anita Baker, also one of my all-time favorites. She's just that soulful, crooning, smooth voice, but always bringing it also. And then Etta James. I had to mention Etta James. Oh my gosh. If you look at her music, you look at her songs, some people probably won't even know that they're listening to Etta James, but her music transcends the time, right? You hear her songs even today, and you may not even know that it's Etta James, but they're playing her songs. They use it in commercials, they use it on TV shows and movies, but she's another great. And then, yes, I did have Mariah Carey on this list. And if you look up Mariah Carey has had hit after hit after hit. She's been on top Billboard charts. She has one of those voices that can go from low to high very quickly, especially when she was in her heyday, because I'm going to say she's an all-time now. She's not really performing like she used to, but she definitely, and she transcends genres as well. She started to make things work in other areas. She was pop, she was R&B. So I definitely put Mariah Carey on this list.
I mean, she's definitely on one of the best singers lists. I just don't know if she's on the top Black music artist list.
She is Black.
And she's Black, and she owns Christmas.
And she owns Christmas. Yes, she does.
She does own Christmas.
She has one of the best Christmas albums out. But if you look at her, just look at her record. Look at her record, and when you start to look up the old,
I undeniable one of the best singers out there, and songwriters.
Absolutely,
singers and songwriters. I just the top Black music artist, I think, is the problem for me.
She
That's
is.
okay. That's okay.
She is, and we're gonna leave it at that.
Right.
But for my currents, I had to put Fantasia as number one. Fantasia is one of my favorite singers, and the reason why is because she's so soulful. You can feel everything that she's singing when she sings it. When she comes out to sing, you can tell it's coming from somewhere so deep inside. So I really love her, and she does, and I love her as well because she kind of you could tell that she loved Patti LaBelle. So she kind of reminds me of her too. And she will kick off her shoes as well. Beyonce is definitely one. And Beyonce for me is it's the showmanship. It's the hard work. It's the woman that you can tell she just puts so much into everything that she does. And she is transcending, genres, and she will transcend time as well. She will be somebody who's mentioned for years and years, probably long after, she leaves this earth. My number 3 is Jasmine Sullivan, and Jasmine Sullivan is just a soulful, I love singers who you can feel, right? So Jasmine Sullivan is another one of those for me. In addition to that, Ella Mai also is another one of those singers that you can feel. You can feel her music. You can tell that she's into it. And I love when singers come from a deep place. And then I put Rihanna here because I just love Rihanna all the way around. And I think Rihanna is probably understated as a singer when you think about it. But if you really have heard her perform and really sing, the girl can sing. She can really blow. And what I love about her is she's always on some top movie production, and she's on some soundtrack of some top movie production, and she brings something so different from what you hear in her commercial music. So I love that she's so versatile that way, right? And
you can't tell you like you don't even know what's her songs because every one of her songs sounds different. She does not have a distinctive voice in the sense where she, like you said, she's versatile. So she can sing almost anything. And you don't know, sometimes it's pop, sometimes it's rock, sometimes it's rap. You go, is that Rihanna? I think that's what I do enjoy about Rihanna is that she can do it, and then, forget about Fenty. One day we'll just have a home makeup thing about, about Fenty. But love me some Fenty. So yeah, Rihanna.
Absolutely.
All right, Dr. Mimi, let's run through yours quickly and see what similarities.
Obviously, our number one is Whitney. Can't deny that. I will say this quickly that I saw Whitney Houston when she first came out. They had, remember back in the day, they used to have Hot 97 on the you should go to their little concerts on the pier. And she was an up and coming artist, and I was like almost front row watching her because we used to go to those concerts and stand. And I'll never forget when she started singing. I said, I don't know who this woman is, but she is going to be a star. So still there. Aretha Franklin, I love everything she sings is just phenomenal. One of my favorite songs from her that she did was when she did the aria, and she sung opera. If you remember, she did this opera song, and that's when you saw her range. Again, just phenomenal. We both had Patti LaBelle, but J Hud. I mean, to this day, if you're an IG person and you go to songs or YouTube, the song she's able to sing. She does this one when she was on The Voice, I think it was, with her and Tom Jones. You got to hear that if you look it up, J Hud, Tom Jones, you'll see why she's top 4.
Yes. And she can sing anything. She can sing
anything.
I love it.
Ella Fitzgerald, obviously. Cynthia Erivo, we already talked about Cynthia Erivo coming up. I mean, she's ran to the top of my list because I'm just obsessed with her. Like anytime she sings, I want to hear it. I just want to hear it. Ledesi. Now that is somebody very little people know about. Again, I dare you to YouTube. I dare you to go and find her.
I love her.
Yeah, she will.
And she sings what you feel also. The word, I don't know if she's writing or they're writing.
her ballads. She did a ballad for I think it was 100 years. I think it was Norman Lear, CBS 100 Years, and she sang a song. Again, I dare you to go find it. You'll know what I'm talking about. Stephanie Mills, obviously. One of my favorite songs is Home by Stephanie Mills. Gladys Knight, that's an oldie but goodie. And Beyonce. One of three people, but two people I want to mention that we don't have up here is like gospel Christian music singers. And my top three in that could probably rival anybody is CeCe Winans, Tamala Mann, and Yolanda Adams.
CeCe Winans was on my list too, but further.
I mean, if you ever hear the song with her and Whitney Houston, them singing again, you couldn't tell whose voice was whose. That's how great CeCe Winans' voice is, and and Tamala Mann can't say nothing. I mean, she's just Tamala.
Yeah.
So, well, that's my list.
My list is a little different. I guess I'm a little. We got some similarities. You know what? I just want to point out immediately in the top 5, we all have one of the same, Patti LaBelle.
Patti LaBelle,
because that voice is just out of this world. And in every area, in pop, in R&B, in she can also do some operatic notes. So I love her. I just skipped down to 3 just to show the similarities. Shaka Khan is at the top of my list. I think the people who are on my list, especially the first 5, are there because I felt something. I feel something when they sing. I feel something in their songs, and their songs are like my life's soundtrack. So there's something that is always playing. There's something I always remember or feel from these people. Shaka Khan and Stephanie Mills are at the top because they have the largest discography. Yeah, I talk for a living. Discography. For me, for those things that make me feel their music. Patti LaBelle is in there. Toni Braxton has joined that group. She's a newer compared to them, but also how she sings, what she sings does it for me. Jill Scott has given me quite a few of my charge songs, my wake up songs. I need to do things songs, so I absolutely love that voice.
She's another one who can sing opera as well. Her opera range is out of this world.
Yes, and she's a poetic. What is she? A poet. So she sings over. Speaks over her music. Anita Baker. Sadly, as a child, I loved Anita Baker. I don't know why I was so enthralled by all this love at 12 years old, but I love her. I love what she sings about. I love how she sings. Also, Angela Winbush.
That's an oldie but goodie, Shima. I remember her.
Oh my God.
And Phyllis
gosh. I love,
I said, and Phyllis Hyman.
Phyllis Hyman is on my top 20 list too.
I feel like sometimes she's my alter ego. When I see her, when I see pictures, I see her shape. I see how she carries herself. I know her history, her story. I know how she was a hopeless romantic, and when I hear her songs, I identify with her immediately.
She's that old. I mean, you sit down, listen to Phyllis Hyman, you crying, you see you laughing. It's like everything.
You feeling it. It's in here. It's heavy. Brandy is also one of my favorites. She's a younger one compared to the others on my list, but out of 3, I think she has 3 albums. 2 of them are hard lined onto my hard drive in the car because I can listen to them back to back to back to back all day long. And Jasmine Sullivan is another one, young person, but is speaking to the young people too. But some of the things she's saying, this older seasoned auntie can identify with. And I love it. I love her voice. I love her fight. I love that she did not choose to just give up everything in her personal life to have this fame. And it came when it was supposed to come. I think for her, that's why I'm feeling so supportive of her. But yeah.
Well, we
That
have
is
to close
if
out the
something
show. Yes.
we got excited and we run it.
We have to close out the show, everyone. We love you. We thank you for being here. If you have some grades that we did not mention tonight and you want to mention, make sure you put it on the show page or send us an email. All right. We love you. We will see you next Wednesday.